It's time for the Movin the Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
All right, welcome in, folks. Kevin Thomas, John Epps here. John, we're here in week 7 already. Can you believe it?
We have rushed right along.
The season is flying by. We're here for your week 7 preview show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're already seeing we got Kevron and Derek and some other folks in here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If this is your first time, like our post, like our page, stay tuned. John and I do a little preview show every Tuesday night for the following week. Jarrell Hendricks, another co-host of ours, does a recap show with me on Sunday afternoons after the games get over. So definitely tune into both of those on either Facebook or podcast, on Spotify or Google, wherever you get your podcast. Got audio-only version on there. Follow us on Twitter at Movin Chains, Instagram the same handle, MOVINCHAINS, and now Facebook has the same handle as well, John. I'll make it simple for everybody. We're just Movin Chains everywhere. So definitely get in there and check in on us wherever you guys got to get your stuff. We got some new stuff coming for you with some logos and graphics. You'll see a cool little bottom line we got here now. That's new, so hopefully you guys like that. Also got a big interview coming out Thursday with the Clinton Red Devils defensive coordinator, Ethan Campbell. Gave some good insight. Jarrell did that a couple nights ago. There'll be some good stuff there for you guys to hear coming out Thursday. So, John, we talked about it before the show. It was kind of tough to pick out some games of the week this week.
Yeah, that's we really got spoiled 2 weeks ago with some really, really good games across state. This week, a little bit more slim pickings.
Yeah, it was hard to find some big top 10 matches. We've got a couple for you guys. I do want to shout out right quick. Kevron says, great. Columbia. Edison, wait, Anthony, those couple we'll get to. Derek says, at work still, but what's up, fellas? Derek, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the grind. We appreciate the dedication there.
Love it.
We love that. We got Jeff in here. Ryan's in here. Kendall's in here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. But, John, let's get going here with our games of the week. The first one, this is a big game every year. That's Gaffney at Dorman. A ball game that was a 1-point game last year. It's been a tight game for the last several years. Always is, it seems like. Gaffney coming off a 34-0 victory over Bowling Springs. No surprise there. Dorman coming off a 47-14 victory over Riverside. A little bit of a surprise there, but there is a disclaimer. Riverside quarterback Rob Sanders went down. I think after the first drive, they just tied it up 7-all. He goes out. Totally different ball game from that point on, John. But Indians and Cavaliers, what do you see happening?
I tell you what, I think early on in the season, had we seen this game, I would have said Gaffney beats them by 2 or 3 scores. Mm-hmm. Really not close at all.
Yep.
But last 3 weeks, Dorman's kind of found their groove. I think they've settled on a quarterback now.
Well, I'll get that in a minute, but go ahead.
Maybe not. But, they had their last 3 games, they had a tough-fought game, very competitive game with Fort Dorchester down there in the low country. And then they blew out Ridgeview. Ridgeview, they're trending down.
They're going a bad direction.
They're going the other direction. Then, even with Sanders going out last Friday with Riverside, Dorman dominated. 47-14, absolutely dominating. So I think Dorman's really catching a groove. Their offense is scoring a lot more points. Remember, back week 0, Clover beat them 20-7.
Yeah.
The offense was
couldn't
not
do anything.
resistant.
Couldn't do anything.
They caught a groove. I think this is going to be a competitive game. Probably about a 10-point game, I think. I think Dorman stays in it. Gaffney's the better team here. But I think Dorman's going to give them all they want.
Yeah, you mentioned the quarterbacks there. And to begin the season, they were playing 3 different guys. They were all over the place. And I thought they had settled on one guy going with Hudson Talley. But then last week they played 2 guys again. So it's kind of up in there. They're playing the Tally kid, more of a thrower, passer. Then they've got Chamarius Bomar, a running threat. Let me give you stats from him last week. He ran the ball 7 times for $165 and 2 TDs out of the quarterback spot. So that guy is electric. He's dangerous. And I think Gutshaw is going to try to keep using both of them because they're so different and contrasting styles there. But that Dorman offense really got it going last week. You mentioned they're going there. They ran for 434 yards.
Wow.
So the quarterback Bomar had 165. Foster, the running back, had 29 for 269 and 5 TDs. So they got that run game going. The pass game has still got to get going. They've got the Tally kid, a good more of a thrower there for them. They got some receivers. DJ Porter, who caught 2 touchdowns last week. Kendall Norman's always been there as a stud there. And then they got some decent guys stepping up too, John. Hudson Lee last week had 13 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and a pass breakup from the defensive end position.
That's always good when you get a pass breakup from a defensive line.
Yeah.
That's great.
So their offense seems to be humming. Defense stepping up a little bit. On the Gaffney side, we know what they've got. We tell them almost every week how they've got a game of the week. Last week, Tyler Smith, 25 for 182, 3 TDs. Ken Littlejohn, 13 for 101 and a TD. If they just hand the ball to those guys, they will beat almost everybody they play. We say it every week, John. Those 2 running backs are really good. Their line is really good. They're tough. They're physical. They're strong. But they've got, talent outside of there with Grayson Loftus and Edward Jeffries and Jadarius Littlejohn. The defense I'm a big fan of. Landon Bullock, J.D. Dowdle, Marquise Bradley, Brayshawn Littlejohn, those guys. This game at Dorman, I think Darius said he has that game. No, it's actually at Dorman this year, Darius. I think I like Gaffney to win, John. I think there's a little more talented. And here's a stat, too, that I hadn't got out yet. Last week, even though Dorman won, they had 17 penalties for 173 yards.
Ooh.
And you can get away with that with a team like Riverside who's out there without their quarterback. But you can't beat a team like Gaffney giving up that many free yards and all that.
No, and it's impressive they did as well as they did, offensively and defensively, getting that kind of yards. Because we see it. You see it at all levels of football, but especially high school football. If you get behind the chains, even 5 yards, a first and 15 just feels like a mile for some of these teams. It's impressive that they had that much in yellow.
Yeah.
And still did as well they did. But you're exactly right. You do that against Gaffney, they're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah. We talk about Dorman running the ball, and that's where I think these Gaffney linebackers will really come into play. Dowdle there in the middle is a tough kid. Landon Bullock is one of my favorite players in the state, really underrated there. And then they've got a junior linebacker, Brayshawn Littlejohn. He may be the next big thing, John. That kid can really play all over the field. He flies around. I think those linebackers will do a good job of shutting down the Dorman run a little bit. Not really, completely stopping, but holding them enough. And I think Gaffney, with their running game, will be able to get probably a 10-point, 7-point victory, I think.
I tell you, when you have a Littlejohn playing at Gaffney, you got to take notice.
Well, they got like 4 of them.
Because there's a good chance they're going to be pretty good.
That's right.
And one thing I want to mention here with Dorman, we haven't talked about him a ton this year, offensive guard Marquis Anderson.
Yep.
Guy's 11th grader, but he's a 4-star. He's gotten a ton of offers already. So that's huge, getting that ground game going, especially against a good Gaffney defense.
Yeah. But that will be a well-loved ball game. If you're in the upstate, recommend going to that one. Should be a great ball game over there at Dorman and Roebuck on Friday night. John, let's go to our second game of the week here. One that has got 2 teams that know each other very well. Region matchup here. Harstville at Myrtle Beach. Harstville was off last week. 2 weeks ago to beat West Florence 33-13. Myrtle Beach survived in a tough one against West Florence last week, 14-7. So if you look at common opponents, they're like, maybe Harstville has an edge there. But Harstville trending in the right direction. They lost 3 in a row to start the season. They've won 2 in a row. But those 2 were in the region, so they're really in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah. Hey, we just talked about with Dorman too. Start off a little slow. Now they're catching their groove. Well, now's when you want to get in the groove because those first 4 or 5 games outside the region not really matter. And they played some good teams. They played Camden. They played them tough. They lost by 6. Then they played Gilbert, another very good team. Lost by 1. They're a good team. They beat the men's side of North Myrtle Beach.
Yes, they did.
For their first win.
Yeah.
That was a game that was kind of like, hey, again, it's not region, or it was region play. Hey, now's when you got to put in high gear, and boy, did they. And I'm more impressed with the West Florence win. Beating those guys 33-13. We saw Myrtle Beach play West Florence last week.
Yep.
Very tough game for Myrtle Beach.
It was.
Very tough game.
That's a game that came down to the end. West Florence had the ball inside Myrtle Beach's 5-yard line late in the game. Could not score. Lose by 7. But that, I was really shocked with the performance by Myrtle Beach's offense last week. Adam Randall did not have a catch. He had one 80-yarder that got called back. We didn't have a catch in the game. He did score a touchdown on the ground, but they didn't score in the second quarter. They shut out the whole second half. So I don't know what happened there with Berger and Randall, those guys. That's a little bit of a hesitancy, kind of makes it worry a little bit there. On the Harstville side, they got a two-headed monster at running back, Carmelo McDaniel and Ja'Shawn Anderson. Also the quarterback, McKendry Douglas, is a big-time player there for them. What do you see happening in this game at Doug Shaw Stadium, John?
I have no idea. I thought, we were talking about this. We were at the Daniel game last Friday. And we're checking the scores. Like, what is Myrtle Beach doing?
Yeah.
What's going on? How are they not putting up more points? Because I like the Myrtle Beach offense.
It's hard not to.
When's the last time they didn't have good quarterback play over there?
Yeah.
And West Florence shut them down. And then you look at Harstville. Even in the games that they've lost, they have put up a lot of points. I like Myrtle Beach still. I think Myrtle Beach is better. But who said the better last 2 weeks? You got to go with the other guys.
Red Foxes, that's right.
You got to go Harstville. So I think Myrtle Beach wins this game. But if Harstville pulls it out, I wouldn't be very surprised. But I would be very shocked if Myrtle Beach has two bad offensive performances 2 weeks in a row.
That's right.
I think they're too good for that.
They are.
You can have a down week. Get it. Totally understand. 2 in a row, I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. I think the Seahawks just have so much firepower. I think the worry, and maybe this is what kind of happened last week, is that maybe, West Florence kind of grinded the ball a little bit, took the air out of the clock, whatever, which is kind of what Harstville can do with those two running backs. So you kind of worry if they get on a roll there and maybe they get up by a score or it's right around tie, they just start eating that clock. Will Myrtle Beach start pressing on offense, things like that. So that's what you have to worry about. But like you said, I think being at home is a big key for Myrtle Beach. Doug Shaw Stadium is a hard place to play. I know Harstville coach Jeff Calabrese has been there several times. He knows what it's like. But I like the Seahawks in a close one here, I think, at home.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I want to shout out Ryan and Quinnan and Ruben for tuning in. Patrick's in there. Patrick said, what's up, guys? Patrick, your team's in one of the games of the week. We saw that Gaffney Dorman game. I think we both like Gaffney, but should be a barn burner for sure. John, our third game of the week here is one that it's a game of the week, I guess, because of where the teams are ranked. But it may not be a game of the week when the scoreboard shuts off Friday night. And that's Dutch Fork traveling to Chapin. We know what Dutch Fork is. I mean, they're 5-time state champs. Got a good shot at winning 6. They're going to be right there at the end, we think. They beat White Knoll 60-7 last week. And what's cool, I got to mention this. They scored a touchdown to go up to 60 points. They took a knee on the extra point to stay at 60 in memory of their fallen teammate, Jack Alcative. So really cool scene there from the Silver Foxes. Really, really awesome what they did there Friday night against White Knoll for sure.
Yeah, quite the gesture. I know that meant to a lot of people, or meant a lot to a lot of people in the Irmo Dutch Fork community. So that was cool. They were able to do that. And not to make light of the situation, but Dutch Fork may have some opportunities to do that again down the road this season. I mean, they are that good offensively and shows you how in control of games they are.
Yeah. And they've just got so much talent. We mention it every week, John. They've got the Patterson kid at quarterback, Green at running back, Williams at wide receiver. They got Perry and Danley on defense. Just big names all over the place. Just hard to stop them. While Chapin, they were off last week. Probably good after what happened 2 weeks ago. They got beat 50-28 against AC4, gave up 50 in a row, which is pretty shocking there to see. But they've got some talent too. They got the Galloway kid at running back going to NC State. They got the receiver Xavier Short who's going to App. They've got a big quarterback prospect, 2024 prospect, Jaden Bradford playing. So still young, but they've got some talent on that side of the ball. I don't think they can win this game, John, but they could put up some points on Dutch Fork.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like they're a little bit of a roller coaster. You look at what they've done this season. They had some good wins. I thought the Brooklyn Casey win 3 weeks ago now was a really good win. That was a Brooklyn Casey team that I saw a week prior.
Yep.
Really put on a good performance against Chapin. It's a team that's got a lot of speed. They're well coached. Have a good quarterback.
Yep.
It's a huge difference. And Chapin shut them down pretty good, being 41-21. So impressive that they had that kind of game. But then they turn right back around and they give up 50 unanswered to AC4, and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? And AC4 is a great team. I get it.
Right.
But holy moly, that's hard to
That guy out of hand
understand.
fast.
Who's the real champion? Is it the team that beat Brooklyn Casey? Is it the team that lost to 4 like that? And you look back earlier in the year that they can put up some points, but a putrid Rudolph Elgin team, they still gave up 28 to. They gave up 26 to Airport first game of the year. They beat Newberry 35-24. Newberry, a good team, but
Yeah.
we're talking about 5A Chapin.
Yep.
If you're Chapin and you want to be where you really want to be, you got to be competing with Dutch Fork. And I just don't see this game being super close.
Yeah, I think it's Silver Foxes by as many as they want, probably, honestly.
Yeah, I'd say, 28-30 point kind of game.
I think we're on the same page there, John. And now another one that, same kind of situation. Game of the week because of where they're ranked. Probably not game of the week on the scoreboard. That's Southside Christian traveling to Dixie. First off, I'm not knocking Dixie at all. That's the case for most 1A schools Southside Christian plays. They beat Greer a couple weeks ago, a 4A school. Last week they beat McCormick, a pretty good 1A school, 48-0. They got the quarterback Ja'Cory Martin, really good player. The running back Goldsmith. They got kind of the three-headed monster at linebacker with Harstville, Sherman, and Woodfield. Hood at safety. The defense is very good. It kind of gets overlooked, I think, for those guys because they think they can score a lot. But they've got a pretty good defense, too, that gets overlooked. Dixie had a 17-0 shutout over Ware Shoals, so big win for the Hornets there. Hunter Satterfield kind of make it offensive scale. He ran for 143 and a TD last week. And then these defensive stats here are pretty impressive, John. They held Ware Shoals to 60 total yards, forced 2 fumbles, and had 2 picks. So they're going to need a lot more of that against Southside Christian, the Sabres, though.
Yeah, and, the good news for Dixie is, and I don't know how close this game's going to be, but where Dixie is really good is on defense.
Mm-hmm.
If their defense can, I think really what it comes down to, because Southside's for a 1A school, they're big.
Yeah.
They got some big kids. Be able to slow that game down a little bit and just not let Southside Christian just get big chunks and just go, right down the field. And Dixie might have the defense to be able to do that. They played extremely good defense all year, and they've gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Their worst 2 games defensively were their first 2.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, they've gotten a shutout. They gave up 16. They gave up 8 against some pretty good teams.
Yeah.
Good competition. So I think Dixie's got a good enough defense to, maybe keep Southside Christian in the 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe they're going to be able to score many points.
Yeah, and this game isn't Dixie. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea about Dixie's home field advantage. It may be a lot, it may be nothing, I don't know, but hopefully it's a lot for them, for their sake. But like we said in the Dutch 4 game, I think it's Southside Christian by probably as much as they want as well.
Yeah, I see it being, I could see like a 31-10 kind of game if things go well for Dixie defensively, if they don't let Southside really get out of the box scoring. But I don't know that Dixie's got a ton. Hey, you get a couple of turnovers.
You never know. You never know.
Who knows?
With that offense,
we've been surprised before this year.
With that offense, the way they want to run the ball, if they can get an early lead, that would be big. Don't know if they can, but we'll see. But I think it's Southside Christian, like I said, and probably a running way there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just all of 1A. I mean, they're the heavy favorites in 1A. I mean, all the way through, no matter who they're playing. So no knock against Dixie there for sure. But hopefully somebody can step up and give them a challenge at some point. But I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah, and I was kind of didn't know how I felt about Southside beating Greer. I think they won that game 23-15.
Mm-hmm.
But then last week we saw Greer gave Greenville some friction early on.
Yeah, and that's a Greer team that we weren't really impressed with early in the year. They may have figured something out. We'll see. But yeah, still a great win for Southside Christian over a 4A school, no matter who it is really. But let's give a quick shout out here to some of our friends. First at the George Agency, Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew. If you guys have any insurance needs, whether it's for your business, if you're a small business owner, whether it's for yourself, maybe you're a seasonal worker or a restaurant worker or whatever, and your company does give you insurance, give those guys a call. They'll certainly help you out. They won't charge anything either, so they get you a great price, and they get their cut from the other side, so you don't have to worry about paying them anything at all. Check them out at georgeac.net. They've been serving South Carolina for over 35 years. They got offices in Myrtle's Inlet, Myrtle Beach, Mullins, all that stuff. So they can help you out across the state, though, with Rock Hill, Greer, Greenville, Aiken, wherever. They got clients everywhere. So feel free to call them wherever you are, and those guys will certainly help you out at georgeac.net. And then Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Security Advantage is here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securityadvantagefsu.com. That's securityadvantagefsu.com. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. John, I'll put you on the spot here, John, about some credit unions. I know you're a big credit union guy.
Okay.
Why do you like credit unions?
I tell you what, credit unions, they're not. You know what? I'm glad you put me on the spot. I'll go on my soapbox here.
Let's do it.
2 seconds. I'm a member of a bank that just joined with another bank, and now they're a totally different name.
Bigger bank.
I go in a couple weeks ago to deposit a check. That's it. Nothing crazy. Well, there's one person here with 3 people on the line. There's another person over here with nobody on the line. Well, I can't talk to him. I got to talk to this person because they're part of the older bank. a credit union, you don't have that kind of mess.
Yep.
You don't have that kind of mess, and you're probably gonna know who you're talking to every time you go in. If you got kind of a goofy situation, my 401k, I'm not really sure what to do with my 401k. It had to switch. I wouldn't mind going over to a credit union. I'm actually part of a credit union when I was earlier in my life buying a house. Made that process extremely easy. Credit unions, they make the hard things easy, and they make the easy things exactly how they should be. How they should be. Totally support credit unions. Take one less thing off your plate to be complicated.
Win at banking, thrive at life, Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. Offices in Simpsonville, Duncan. So wherever you are, they can help you out. But definitely check out our friends over there and tell them the Moving the Chains guys sent you, John. Let's get a quick look maybe at some of the statewide scores. How's that sound? Or statewide schedule, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll give a quick shout out to Scott and Caleb, Cavante, Ryan, Rashody's in here, Natasha, Quinnan. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Cavante says Timberland at Burke. I like the Wolves again, man. There's not many teams I'm going to pick against Timberland, I think, this year. I think they've got a good shot to keep on rolling for sure. But Rashad Williams says Carvers Bay at Hemingway. If Carvers Bay wins, they lock in a playoff spot.
Okay.
Carvers Bay, they had a big injury to their star player a few weeks ago. That really hurt them. But I think they're still probably a little bit better than Hemingway. They should get that win, I believe, Friday night. But, John, let's roll through some state scores here and state schedules here. And I guess if a game pops out, we'll make some comments and kind of go from there.
Yeah, and luckily that list is getting smaller and smaller each week.
That's right. I told John I had seen one game canceled, Lawrence Greenville, one moved to Thursday, Lamar Louisville, and that's about it. So we're in a pretty good spot. We're getting better and better, it seems like, each week right now.
Yeah. So we'll start with 5A. Start with the big boys first. Berkeley will host Wando. As we talked about, Chapin getting to host Dutch Fork. Clover hosting Fort Mill. Conway hosting Carolina Forest. Carolina Forest. We were going to talk about them this year.
Yeah,
we're going to pump them up like they should be, and they just haven't played.
I don't know, because they had some COVID issues for a while there, but they had some bad losses. Conway's got a couple nice wins, a couple bad losses. Don't want to think about those guys either. This is a big game. I mean, honestly, with that region, you think Carolina Forest is probably going to win and make the playoff spot, but if Conway gets this ball game here, Carolina Forest is in trouble.
Big trouble. And hey, being at Conway, that can't hurt either.
You never know.
Can't hurt for the Tigers. And then the state game of the week, over at Dorman University, Gaffney at Dorman.
Yeah.
Hey, props to Gaffney. They seems like we're saying playing a tough game almost every week. The Outlaw Bowl in the Springs, they're in your region.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they've had a great schedule. And
that's the thing I will give them. Hats off to those guys. They've played a very tough non-region schedule. Obviously, used to play Dorman and Burns every year. Now they don't have to, but they are anyway. So good job to the Indians there. If you guys are just tuning in, go back to the beginning. We'll talk about Gaffney Dorman to start the show. So get our thoughts on that. But we certainly like the Indians in that one. But it'll be a great ball game Friday night.
Yeah, it should be a good game. We'll see if Dorman can keep progressing up. And hey, they have a good showing. That should give them confidence. Second part of the season here. We got this could be a sneaky good game here. Fort Dorchester going to Goose Creek. Big game, Fort Dorchester. Goose Creek. Never a tough place. Never a tough team to beat.
Yeah. I think
easy team to beat us.
I mentioned him a lot. I know Zoltan Osborne, the quarterback for Fort Dorchester. I'm a big time fan. If you haven't seen him play or seen his highlights, go check him out. I think he's a 2023 guy. Very good player, very dynamic there. I won't say he's one of the top quarterbacks in that class, I think, John. But really good player there for Fort Dorchester. I think he's got a good shot to lead them deep in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and I think Fort Dorchester one really keep an eye on as we get into November and maybe they get to play a game in December too.
That's right.
Then we've got White Knoll will go to Lexington. Nation Ford hosting Boiling Springs. Northwestern hosting Blythewood. This could be a good game here. We've got two teams kind of going opposite directions. The Ridgeview hosting Spring Valley. Spring Valley playing some decent football.
Yes, they are.
The
Two nice wins in a
Ridgeview
row.
dropping off a cliff a little bit.
Blazers need a win. They're in a bad spot. I don't know what happened to them, honestly. I don't know.
A little bit of a rivalry game there, too. That game will be played at Ridgeview, right there on Harstville Road. Riverside going to try to bounce back at home against Burns.
That's a good, and that's a big game, too. I don't know if the Sanders kid's backcourt at that really said what to do with his injury yet, but Burns, tough loss to Spartanburg last week. And this is a game for playoff seeding. You got to win this game. I mean, you got to think that Wade Hampton's probably going to finish last in that region. Not a big surprise there. Right now, Dorman and Spartanburg are in the driver's seat for the one spot there. They'll meet here in a couple weeks. But, if you want to get a good shot at getting that third slot, maybe that second slot, you got to win this ball game here. And I think if Sanders is back, they will score on Burns. Burns will score points into that too. I hope he's back. I think they can make it a very good ball game, but we'll see, I guess, what happens Friday night.
Yeah, that's a big deal too once you get into playoffs as well. Okay, how much do you get to play at home and who do you get matched up with? Because some of these regions, and I can't think off the top of my head before we look at the brackets, but, if you're the 3, you might get to play a totally different team than you would if you were a 2.
Yeah.
It can be quite dramatic even just being one spot away. We got Socastee. They're going to host St. James. Talk about Spartanburg hosting Wade Hammond. Spartanburg, another team I've been more impressed with as the year's gone. They seem to be improving a bit. I know we talked a little bit of trash about them at the beginning of the year, but they're starting to show some improvement.
Yeah, Jeter has really turned that team around when he's been healthy. He's been a good player for those guys.
And, we first saw Jeter, 2 years ago, I guess, when he was at Burns. Or, no, he was at Greer.
3 years ago at Burns Middle School. 2 years ago at Greer. Now at Spartanburg.
Yeah. And he looked like he had the talent.
Yeah.
He was just
a young kid.
A young kid, need to get some game reps. You hear guys talk about it all the time, let the game slow down a little bit more. Man, it looked like, hey, the game's just kind of fast. Yeah. Now, he's had so much experience getting into a groove now. We got Stratford. We'll be hosting Caney Bay. Somerville hosting RB Stall. Hannah hosting Malden. Malden took it on the chin last week.
Interesting game there. We were surprised by Malden, but they've lost 9 on the road to Hillcrest now. Crazy there to think about. Hillcrest, I think, won their 22nd consecutive game against Greenville County opponent. Also a wild stat.
Crazy.
Hillcrest jumped out to a big lead. I think it was 21-0 right off the bat. Malden came back at 21-17, and Hillcrest just kind of pulled away. Malden shut down the pass, which, kind of surprised me because I thought that was what Hillcrest did well.
Yeah.
But then Hillcrest ran for like 200, 300 yards, so they figured out a different way to score. And I don't know what to think about how those DBs are going to play against a triple option Friday night. I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah, and, gosh, if I'm Malden, if I'm those DBs, they know they're good, they know they're talented. The one thing you want to do after you kind of get whooped up a little bit, you want to go back out and prove yourself. And against triple option, it's a different kind of game.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Yeah, big region matchup there. They're going to need a big night from Caldwell and Lucas on the defensive and offensive side of the balls to win that ball game. But I think TL Hannah at home is probably the favorite there.
I think Hannah wins this game, but I think it's going to be closer than what that Malden Hillcrest game was last week.
Yeah.
Very impressed with Hillcrest, how many points they put up. Hillcrest actually got the week off. I don't know if that's good news or bad news.
Yeah. If you get it rolling, you keep going, right.
You got a groove on now, so we'll see how that goes. But cool with Hillcrest, and also good to see them be able to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. Cool. We like the running back, the Coldren kid, but a lot of times he's used more as a receiving threat. But last week he got it going on the ground, which is good to see.
Yeah. We got Ashley Ridge will go to West Ashley, and closing out 5A, Woodmont will host JL Man.
Woodmont's a team that needs to win. They've had a couple tough losses in a row for sure.
Yeah, and that they felt really good about them early on.
I want to get some comments here right quick. Nick Hyatt says he also thinks Green Sea Timmonsville is also Thursday, so we'll check on that. Jay Law says, Ola, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Patrick said, let's go. We'll be a barn burner at that Gaffney Dorman game. Yeah, that'll be a big ball game. He said a true test for us for the playoffs. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Dorman, if you're going to beat a team like Dorman, that's a playoff win. I mean, it is. That's the team you'll face later on in the playoffs. It's certainly a big ball game there.
I think high scoring too.
Yeah. Rashad Williams says, Doug, your thoughts on Hannah Pamphlet is going to relate to you. Not yet. We'll get it out in here in a little bit. It's a 1A for sure. Chris says Gaffney got their 800th win Friday. And I saw that's a big stat. So if you guys didn't hear, Gaffney's program has now won 800 football games. And I was talking to John at the game Friday when we saw that. Most schools don't even keep those kind of records. So that's awesome to have that they have somebody who's that, has that much history on the Indian program.
And I know Gaffney High School has been around for a long time. I don't know when Gaffney High School started or when they started playing football. I don't know. It's gotta be some time.
A long time ago.
800 wins.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, Chris also says Burns will roll Riverside. We'll see. So I think if the quarterback's back, it'll be a close game. But we'll see what happens if he's healthy or not. But interesting ball game Friday night for sure.
I think if Sanders is healthy, that also could be a high scoring game.
Yeah, exactly right.
Burns sharpened up on defense though.
Chris says 1902 for football.
1902,
So,
very cool.
That's a long time
That's
ago.
even while they're playing football that long too. That's awesome.
That's a long time ago.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. I mean, heck, I don't know. They might have started playing football before Clemson did.
I think Clemson was 1889, I think. So right around the same time.
Well, we started to score in 1889.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Good
Football.
question. Yeah.
That'd be close.
Good catch. Yeah, I don't know.
Close.
Who
That'd be a
knows?
good trivia question there.
First state title 1921.
1921.
How about that?
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Love the stats. Love the history. All right, let's jump down to 4A. We'll start in the low country. Bluffton will host May River. Dreer will host Irmo. Easley hosting Walhalla. Eastside will host Greenville. Eastside will host Greenwood. Greenville will host Lawrence.
COVID cancellation. The one for
That's
this
right.
week so far. Yeah.
That's right. Do we know who that was on? Was that Greenville or Lawrence?
Lawrence side. Yes. I do not know if Greenville's looking for a game or not. I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Greer will host Belton Honey Path. Hilton Head Island hosting Colleton County. James Island will host Beaufort. Midland Valley will be hosting Aiken. As we talked about, big game down the Green Strand. Myrtle Beach hosting Harstville. North Augusta hosting Airport. Darlington will go to North Myrtle Beach. So North Myrtle Beach will be able to get their bearings.
I believe Darlington has lost 2 games by 70-something and up in scores this year. So hopefully they can figure something out.
You know what? Interesting. We're looking at the score of this game last Friday, and Darlington declined the running clock in the second half.
Yeah. I think they may have finally agreed to it for fourth quarter, but I mean, at that point, what's why do it then? That's a bad look for the Falcons.
Interesting there. We've got Richland Northeast will host AC4. I think this could be. I think 4 wins this game pretty handily. But Richland Northeast, a team that's been bad for the last few years, they're starting to pick it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was high on them. I know they kind of laid an egg last week. They got beat by Irmo like 40-2, like some weird score. Don't know what happened there, but they'd won a couple ball games early in the year. Maybe kind of think they may have something going. So we'll see. But I don't think they got quite enough for AC4.
Yeah. Florida's gonna take it to them. But did want to give them a little shout out. They have been playing better this year. Travelers Rust will host West Side. Rudolph Elgin will go to Westwood. South Florence will go to Wilson.
South Florence still without quarterback Lenore Sellers. They still should beat Wilson. Wilson's not very good. But hopefully he gets back. We just don't know, I guess, the status of that yet.
Yeah, and it's good. We talked about this last week. It's good that they catch a couple breaks from an opponent standpoint while Sellers gets healthy again.
Yeah.
And hey, he's not 100%. Give him some time off.
Yeah.
We're talking about kids here. This isn't big time NFL or Division I football. Let's let the kid come back 100%. He's got a lot of football left to play.
Yep.
And then closing out 4, we got York hosting Catawba Ridge.
Oh, so that's a very interesting game there because Catawba Ridge, they've lost a few games lately. They lost to South Point. They lost to South Point. Yeah, close ball game there. Then York, who I thought was not a great team this year, they beat a pretty Indian Land team last week.
Yeah.
So could be a good ball game there. Catawba Ridge needs to get a win. That's the region game here. It's a big game, so hopefully they can pull it out. But I don't know what to think about York now because they kind of caught me off guard. They won last week.
Yeah, it was a great one for York last week. Indian Land snuck into the top 10, right back out.
Yep.
But yeah, Catawba Ridge kind of reeling a little bit. You like to have an easy game if you're the Copperheads. And I don't think York's going to give them.
No. One more game is in 4A. I don't know if it's all on the sheet or not. It's South Point going to Lancaster. Lancaster, I think they're 2-1, 3-1. They lost early into the year, but they've had a couple nice wins. They were creeping up towards the poll. They were getting some votes. Didn't play last week. No, they didn't get any votes. So we'll see there. No, South Point's a very good team, but they've had a lot of big games here in the last couple weeks. You wonder if they can kind of continue with that, or if it's going to wear on them eventually. I don't know. But I think South Point wins. But I hope Lancaster, it'd be good to see that program get turned around for sure and have a good season here.
Yeah. I think South Point wins that game. But, gosh, how many close games can you play, though?
Yeah.
Play and then come out on top. We saw North Augusta, they made a living out of it for about 2 or 3 years. So we'll go down to 3A here. Academic Magnet will host Bishop England. Aner hosting Georgetown. Battery Creek will be hosting Hanahan. Powersville will go to Berea. Palmetto going to Blue Ridge. Clinton at Broome. Carolina will host Southside. Chapin will host Emerald. Chester hosting Fairfield Central. Daniel will get Pendleton at home.
Let's talk about that one for a second, John, if you want to. If you guys listen to the recap show, John and I, we went and saw Daniel Friday night. Defending 3A state champion Daniel. And I'll tell you what, John, they left something to be desired, I think, in that ball game.
Yeah, I've been talking them up all year. How good they played last year, especially toward the end of the year. And then how many people they were getting back this year. And it was just it was interesting. It was just kind of weird. It was, they were kind of dinking and dumping. They weren't really going downfield a ton. They didn't run the ball particularly well. It wasn't the, boy, they were going to go 100 miles an hour and score every time they touched the ball kind of offense that they had last year.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more vanilla than that.
Yeah, and it could have been something Seneca did. Seneca played a good ball game. They did what they had to do. You felt like they really grounded it out, kept the ball on the ground with the good running back they had there. Adrian Lewis. Quarterback couldn't really help him out and hit many passes. We did throw one good ball. Seneca dropped it. But it ended up being a 35-14 game. Probably closer than that, really. I know that it was tied 14-all. They were down 7 for the whole third quarter, and they knew that he could score. Seneca put up a good fight. Daniel just, like I said, they lack some explosiveness Friday night.
Yeah. I just want to see a little bit more from them than we did. Still a great team.
Yeah.
Still a very good team. And to say, hey, guys, we don't think they played as well as they could have played, and they won 35-14.
Right.
A pretty good Seneca.
Yeah.
Pretty good Seneca team. A Seneca team that had a really good running back. I'm sure you guys talked about it earlier in the week. Really like the running back there.
Adrian Lewis.
Quick, shifty back. I thought Seneca did a lot of really good things, but I think Dame's going to have, we'll get into the polls later. Dame's going to have their hands full, I think, come playoff time.
Yeah, I do want to circle back to one more while I pull it up again. That Clinton-Broome game is an interesting game Friday night. Clinton, I think, is up number 3 or 4 now in the polls. We got the deep six coordinator coming up Thursday. Check out that interview with him. But Dylan Ramirez at Broome can throw it all over the yard. I think he set the record. We said, 500-plus yards a couple weeks ago in a game, John, something nutty like that. Clinton, this is also kind of maybe a look-ahead spot for them. They got Chapin on the horizon next week.
Okay.
You got to stay focused here on Broome. That's a big ball game, and interesting to see how good the Clinton defense is. If they can shut down a guy like Ramirez, if he can still put up points. That's an interesting ball game there Friday night as well.
And I tell you what, if you're Clinton, you don't want to look ahead, but if you're all of us, we can.
Yeah, I want to see that ball
game. if Broome has some success putting the ball in the air, Clinton is really going to have some trouble against Chapman. Because Chapman, DJ Black, I think tied. He broke Debo Samuel's single game yards record the other night. Yeah, they want to throw the ball. They know they can throw the ball. And the big thing for Chapman is that offensive line. That Chapman offensive line can give Settle plenty of time to throw the football. And then a guy, DJ Black, he's good enough. You give a guy like that enough time, let Settle scramble around a little bit, he's going to get open.
Yep.
He's going to get open. So that'll be interesting to watch to see how Clinton fares against Broome's passing game.
Yes.
Looking forward to next week.
That's right.
So that will be a fun game to check out there. Moving on, we've got Crestwood to host Lakewood, little Sumter County rivalry there. We've got Dillon hosting Waccamaw. Fox Creek will host Gilbert. Greer hosting Belton Honeypath. Manning hosting Lake City. Cannon will go to Marlboro County. That used to be.
If we're talking early 2000s,
that would be really big game.
Yeah, big
really
game early 2000s right there for sure.
Yeah. Mid Carolina at home against Lower Richland. Lower Richland have a really good season. I'm excited to see what they do late in the year here. Oceanside will host North Charleston. Swansea will go to Orangeburg Wilkinson. Seneca hosting Wren. That will be a very good region game right there.
It will. It will. Wren, we said they play Murderers Row to start the year. We know that. We're playing Powdersville and Dutch Fork and T.L. Hannon, those guys. They've got some nice wins lately. Seneca really impressed me last week in a loss over Daniel. They did. I don't know what worries me about Seneca is that passing offense is not existent.
Yeah.
It's really bad. And I think Wren, they're such a well-coached team with Coach Tate there. If they know that you can't throw the ball, they're going to do a pretty good job of shutting down the run, too, you would think, when you're really one-dimensional like that.
Yeah. I think the run is good enough offensively, too. Hey, even if Lewis breaks one or two, you like the run offense to be able to outpace a one-dimensional Seneca team. If they're able to, keep them, and I say one-dimensional, but keep that ground game in check if you don't have to respect the passing game.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Wren's just probably a little bit better. They just may not have. They don't have the record that Seneca does because of who they've had to play.
Yeah.
They probably got a little bit better team there. They got the West kid at DB. They got the Williams kid on the D line there. Nick Morgan, a big time player there. Reyes and Trey Horn and those guys. They've got a good chance to really get it going here in the region play. I think this is a good way to start off for them.
Yeah, absolutely for Wren. And I tell you what, after what we saw last Friday, that Ren Daniel game could be a better game than what we originally expected too. Then we got Brooklyn Case. We got a Strom Thurmond.
That's an interesting matchup there as well.
Yes.
Strom Thurmond, I don't think we know a ton about them yet. They haven't played a great schedule either. But I think BC, this is a game they've got to win. You know, they had some nice wins, like you said, against, you know, Chapman and other teams. Had I guess a loss against Chapin, which was kind of expected, but you thought they'd fight a little bit tougher than they did. I think BC probably wins this ball game, but could be sneaky good Friday night.
Yeah, BC's another team that's kind of a little bit highs and lows this season. You know, Strom Thurmond, hey, you catch him on a low, who knows?
Yeah. Ryan Franklin says Crestwood by 2 TDs over Lakewood. I think you're probably right about that one, I believe.
Yeah, I know Lakewood. I don't know a ton about Lakewood, but they have struggled a little bit. I've seen some of their. I know they play Camden.
Lakewood's got a very good linebacker. I do know that.
Yes, I thought they have good defense.
Yep.
A little bit of a good defense, but their offense seems to have been struggling this year. And then closing out with 3A, have Union County hosting Woodruff. I want Union County to start getting good.
Man, yeah,
they're fun to talk
they've
about.
got tons of athletes. They've got good coaches. They just don't have maybe just not quite enough athletes. I mean, it doesn't help they're in a tough region there with Chapman and Clinton and those guys. But yeah, it's fun when they're good. When the Jackets are good, it's always fun. Hopefully they'll get it turned around next year.
So we'll go down to 2A here. Some good region matchups here. Andrew Jackson hosting North Central. Big game against the country boys from, I guess that's Chesterfield County.
I guess
where
so,
Kershaw is, and then up in North Kershaw County, North Central. Then you go to Andrews. They'll be hosting the Latta Vikings. Latta had ideas of pulling off a little bit of an upset.
Yeah, lost
week.
12-7 to Marion last Friday night. Kind of a surprise there. Didn't see that coming. But Latta, I think they got one win on the year, but they fought tough in some games. And this could be a good ball game here between a Andrews' team that's pretty solid, we think, and then Latta.
Yeah, Andrews is good, but don't sleep on Latta. And it was talked about earlier, Burke hosting Timberland. Like Timberland in that game. They played very well this year. Sherrall will go on the road, play Central of Pageland. Chesterfield will get Buford at home. As we mentioned earlier, Gray going to Columbia to play the Capitals.
Sorry for the Capitals, right?
Yeah. Crescent will host 96. Batesburg, Leesville going to Eau Claire. Landrum hosting Blacksburg. Lee Central, not sure who Lee Central is supposed to. They're supposed to have a home game, but originally it was supposed to be against Latta.
Ooh, I do not know who that is now. Yeah.
Who they've got on tab this week now. Well, Liberty will host Abbeville. Here's a good game. I know a lot of reviewers are going to be interested in this. Saluda going to Newberry. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, you know, Saluda has played some good ball this year. They took it on the chin against Rabin County, and Gunnar talked a couple weeks ago. But they're a very good team this year. They kind of had a bounce back after a down year last year. Newberry playing hard. Coach Strickland's last year for him. They're going to retire, so hopefully they can get it turned around. They've had a couple tough losses as well. I like Saluda, but Newberry's a tough place to play some ball.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good game. You know, whoever wins this game got to play well. Saluda's got to play well. They are a little bit better, I think, but they still got to play well. They got to prove it. Silver Bluff will go to Pelion. Lake Marion will go to Philip Simmons. St. Joseph's will host Chesney. Wade Hampton down in the Low Country hosting Edisto. And West Oak hosting Christchurch. And then Woodland will host Ridgeland Hardyville to wrap up the 2A.
Do want to circle back on a couple of those. Talk about Silver Bluff Pelion. For one, great win for Silver Bluff. 40-14 over Wade Hampton. We knew their defense was good. Offense looked good too. Pelion, tough loss to Florence Christian last week. You know, it wasn't even really close. I kind of surprised us. It could get ugly for those guys. And then want to give a quick stat shout out about KZ Adams, one of our favorite players out of Gray. Last week had 270, 2 TDs, and a 75-yard punt return. That puts him over 1,000 yards rushing on the season with 15 touchdowns already. And this is his 4th straight season over 1,000 yards rushing. So freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, big stats for Gray there, for Gray's KZ Adams. One more 2A game, John, that wasn't on that sheet. The Tobacco Bowl, Mullins at Marion. Big matchup Friday night, the Auctioneers and the Swan Foxes. Mullins has had a down year so far, hadn't had a great team. Marion, they keep kind of squeaking by some teams. They beat Carver's Bay close. They beat, Lee Central close. They beat Latta close last week. I think Marion's, a better football team, a few more athletes, but they're at the record books in Tobacco Bowl.
They got to wake up a little bit.
Over at Fox Field, man, you never know.
Those Mullins, they're going to be pumped up for that game. They know what's going on. They know Marion's looking a little vulnerable here. They know that.
Yeah. Comment here from J Law says it's crazy about KZ. Those stats are nuts. He also says, who wins out of Abbeville Gray? I think that's the game everybody's waiting on to see, honestly. And I think if the way the playoff brackets work out, you'll see it. I think in round 3, the round before Upper State. So that'll be a great ball game there. It's just two teams like to run the ball, kind of different style where Gray will kind of spread you out and run it, while Abbeville's kind of doing that, the A-ball thing there for those guys. I don't want to make a call yet on that ball game because I think it's going to be an awesome one, but that's going to be a tough ball game to pick.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Abbeville. I mean, the best game they played this year, it was probably playing Newberry early on, winning that game 35-6, which, hey, that's great. Newberry's a pretty good team. But you look at what Gray has done this year.
Yeah.
They played Camden to start the year at Zimp Stadium. Mm-hmm. They went up to the reservation, went toe-to-toe with Gaffney.
Beat Oceanside
early on in the season. Gray is by far the more tested team.
Yeah.
I think they might be the better team here.
It'll be a great ball. That's been kind of the matchup the last couple of years where Abbeville is, taking out Gray. Gray hadn't been able to do it. Gray's got a pretty good defense this year, better defense than they've had. I don't know, John. It's going to be a whale of a ball game.
And Gray's well coached. And not taking anything away from
Abbeville. We know Abbeville, they're great. Everybody knows that. They've been great for the past 20, 30 years, whatever you want to say. We know they're very good.
But Gray's done it this year. Gray's been doing it at a higher level than what Abbeville has. I'm not going to say, hey, Abbeville's not as good because of who they play. It doesn't matter who you play.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's more telling on how good Gray is.
Abbeville just hasn't played like the level of competition that Gray has. Exactly.
Right. If I had to pick it right now, I'm picking Gray. I'm picking Gray in that one. We'll go through 1A. Short slate of games here for 1A. Got Bamberg Earhart hosting Branchville. Military Magnet will go to Baptist Hill. Denmark Olar hosting Wagner Sally.
Good ball game there, I think.
Yeah,
could be good. Both teams are pretty explosive. Could be a high scoring one there.
Like Wagner Sally in that game. As we talked about, the 1A game of the week, Dixie being the host Southside Christian. See if they can give anything for those guys. C.E. Murray will go to East Clarendon. Great Falls hosting C.A. Johnson. As mentioned, Green Sea Floyd's hosting Timminsville. That's on
Thursday, we believe. Yep.
Wilson Elko going to Hunter Kenner and Tyler. Ridge Spring Minetta hosting Calhoun County. St. John's at home against Cross. Calhoun Falls will go to Ware Shoals. And Whitmire hosting McCormick.
Yeah, a couple more. Louisville hosting at Lamar on Thursday. Interesting game there in Louisville. I heard they had some issues with a coach at halftime. Once I believe I heard they fired a coach at halftime. Cannot confirm or deny, but that's the story on the street there. Lamar, we know how good they are. They're going to be a tough out for Louisville for sure. Also 1A, there was one more game I wanted to mention as well, John. What was it now? Oh, I want to circle back to Hannah-Pamplico Lakeview.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that because I think they're both off this week as of right now. At least I know Lakeview is not sure about Hannah-Pamplico, but a game that was tied. Actually, I think Lakeview was up 12-6. Hannah-Pamplico scored like 26 in a row, go up 32 to 12. They held off a late comeback over Lakeview. That's a big win for the Raiders there, Coach Johnson.
Yeah, we talked about that game last week, saying, hey, this is a really good game. Maybe Hannah-Pamplico's got a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, what a win for them. What a win, because Lakeview's been very, very good all season.
Yes. Yes.
And nothing against Lakeview. I'm more impressed with Hannah-Pamplico than I'm disappointed in Lakeview. I'm not disappointed in Lakeview at all.
Right.
Hannah-Pamplico must be pretty doggone good this year.
Big region matchup puts HP in the driver's seat there, but kind of surprising to me. We thought Lakeview had some offensive explosion that would really be able to get it done for them. They had a kid run for 200 yards. Wasn't enough. Hannah-Pamplico had a kid that I think threw over 4 TDs. The posting kid did. So big game there for the Raiders, and hats off to those guys on a nice victory. But John, let's up a couple comments here. Kenny Power says Big A. JD Patterson says Abbeville versus Gray. Hometown talent versus recruits. Going to be a great one. Hey, it is going to be a big ball game. No matter who's playing, however you want to say it, that's going to be a great game for sure. Let's get into our pick'em stats real quick, John. If you guys have not been part of our pick'em yet, do it. We post games on Tuesday usually Tuesday or Wednesday, pick your 10 games there. We have a prize at the end of the season, so you still have time to get in there and do it. But it's a lot of fun to see. It just kind of keeps you involved in some different football games. But, John, let's look at our Week 6 winners. Hats off to Charlie L. A nice 9-1 score there. Ooh. Had a lot of folks go 8-2. From Haley, Corey, Kane, Chris, Trevor, Brian, Suzanne, Chris, Dakota, Kyle, Hunter, Jason, Jarrell, Jack, Ryan, David, Mike, Thomas, Adrian, and Dale all went 8-2. John and you and I both went 8-2 as well. So not the toughest week to pick games you see there, but hats off to Charlie for getting one more than we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a big night there for Charlie as our week 6 pick'em leader. Now our overall leaders, we've got Kane E sitting there at 47 in the lead. Second place got a tie between Brian, Tyler, and Ryan all at 46. Mark and Charlie at 45. David at 44. Then Chris, Kyle, and Art all at 43. I'm at 47. John's at 40. Long way to go in the season, John, so don't give up yet, guys. Keep getting your picks in. We'll see what happens. We've got a prize for the winner at the end of the year, so definitely keep doing that. Keep getting your picks in, and love to see how you guys stack up and how everybody does each week. And there's a couple games last week, John, where the majority, I think it was 90+% on one team, and the other team won. I think that Lakeview game was one of them. So funny to see how that works out sometimes, but appreciate you guys for getting in. Bill says, or William McClant says, love this season's pick of my day. Great concept. Thank you, William. Love for you to get in, man, and make your picks each week. It's great to kind of keep up with how things are going for sure. But, John, let's take a look at the statewide polls that came out today out of the prep media polls there.
Yeah, we'll start with 5A. No surprise here. Dutch Fork staying number 1. Fort Dorchester number 2. Gaffney number 3. It'd be interesting if Gaffney can knock off the Cavs over at Dorman University. Do they jump to 2?
Especially when you've got a common opponent there between them and Fort Dorchester. When Fort Dorchester, they beat Dorman in a fairly close game a couple weeks ago. If Gaffney blows them out, I think they got to jump them, right?
Yeah, and, I think what we've been talking so much about Gray all year, Gaffney deserves a lot of respect for winning that game.
Yeah.
Hey, Gray played great. They still lost.
Yep,
Gaffney
exactly.
won. So it'd be interesting. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you're judging on strength of schedule, they're way higher than Fort Dorchester right now.
for sure.
So.
For sure. We got 4 TL Hannah. I don't know if they're going to perform in the state.
Another team that hasn't played a big time opponent yet, we feel like. They beat Westside, okay. They beat Wren, okay. No big time wins yet for those guys.
Yeah. 5, we got Northwestern. 6,
sneaky team. People can't figure out Northwestern.
Yeah, and they look, we saw them play Greenville, and they look good.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only 4 teams in 5A better than them? I don't know.
Their one loss to South Point, week 1, 40-35. Okay, you shouldn't lose to a 4A team. I get it if you're going to say that, but South Point's a very good football team.
Yeah.
Week 0 that was actually. So Northwestern keeps getting better. They'll be a team to look out for in the playoffs
for sure. Right behind him, the team that I talked about earlier, Spring Valley.
Mm-hmm.
They come in at number 7. They kind of flip-flopped with Ridgeview. Ridgeview was there in the top 10 early on in the year. Now they have not lost. They've gotten rocked the last couple of weeks. They're way out of the top 10 now. Spring Valley replacing them. Vikings playing some good football here down the stretch. Sumner, a team that's quietly just been hanging around.
Yeah, not much said about them yet. We'll see what they've got here in the next few weeks.
And I think some respect here given to Riverside after getting pretty torched.
Yeah.
They stay at number 9 this week. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I agree. When you lose your quarterback, it's tough to judge that team for sure.
And then number 10, we got Lexington. Lexington popping in after they've had a couple of good weeks. They had a good. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Maybe they had a close game with the Irma. The damn game.
They played a couple close games. A couple overtime games and a fourth quarter win last week, I believe. So I
think it was Ashley Ridge they knocked off a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Ashley Ridge had bumped into the top 10. Lexington knocks them back out. So good to see the Wildcats having a little bit better football here. Yeah,
quick comment here from another part of our show, Jarrell. Thanks for getting in, man. He says Dutch Fork up to number 23 in the national polls now.
Okay.
So love to see that. That's something I've always wondered. Who really judges that? Are these guys watching film? Or are they just looking at records over the past few years? I don't know. But awesome for the Silver Foxes to be up there in that top 25.
And it's got to be so hard to compare Dutch Fork to the best team in Georgia or the best team in North Carolina.
Matter Day or whoever,
who knows?
Anybody. Yeah.
We have a hard enough time to do it within our own state.
Yes.
Now going to 4A, here's some schools that can beat some 5A schools too. AC Floor at number 1, the Greenville Red Raiders staying tight at number 2, which I guess they deserve it. I don't know. Myrtle Beach number 3. And Myrtle Beach had won bigger last week.
Not going to jump them.
Put them at number 2, but they stay at 3. South Point number 4. Greenwood hanging half at number 5. South Florence 6. Beaufort coming into the top 10. They are 7th. York, the Cougars, checking in at 8 this week. West Florence, I think, hey, they deserve it. They nearly knocked off a great team in Myrtle Beach. They hang out at number 9. And Tulsa Ridge right there at number 10, and knocking on the door, Harstville, right there.
Hey, they can make a statement this week for sure.
That is for sure. Going down to 3A, we got Daniel number 1, and I tell you what, I could put I'm picturing like a Jenga, and that thing is wobbling a little bit because there's some really good teams behind them.
And I tell you, I mean, I'm okay with them being voted number 1. I get it.
Yeah, they deserve
but they get all 17 first place votes. You don't give one to a Dillon or a Clinton or anybody. I mean, that's a little surprising there, but we'll see what happens when the season continues on.
It'll sort itself out. Got Dillon number 2. Dillon just hasn't played the ton of football yet, but they're playing
That's
good.
some very nice wins. They blew out Lamar, which is Lamar 1A, Dillon 3A. But to blow them out, still impressive. Do what they had to do for sure.
Winning that game against Ainer.
Yep.
And beating them pretty handily. I think it was 33-14.
Yeah. In their first game of the year. That was correct.
Yeah. And I think did they go to Ainer?
Yes. Yes, they did.
So I'm very impressed with Dillon. Clinton number 3, who has had
6-0.
a great track record so far this season.
Yep.
Maybe the best performances, just from a record standpoint, and how they've won so far this year. Because you look at Camden's sitting at number 4. Well, they've got a loss.
More than one. Gray, AC Flora.
And AC Flora as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a couple losses. But they had some injuries early in the year. They're still kind of coming back from that. They'll be a factor for sure at the end.
Yeah, and hey, you can't fault them too bad for losing a tough game against Flora, and actually they kind of got whooped by Gray.
Yeah,
it's like a 26-6 game there, and a little bit of controversy, a little bit of drama with head coach Remp, having a little bit a short hiatus from the team there. We got Chapin checking in. Now here's where I get upset. Yeah, here's where I lose it. Chapman is number 5. Brooklyn Casey's number 6.
Have we seen them play? I don't know, have we?
In Chapman.
That's right.
In Chapman.
That's right.
The Bearcats beat him at their place.
Yeah.
Yet they're a spot behind. I don't know.
What do we know, John?
What do we know? We don't know. We don't see games. Gilbert, number 7. Gilbert having a very good season.
Kind of under the radar a little bit.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Scoring a lot of points, Gilbert does.
Yes.
Gilbert's a dangerous club. Powdersville, still in the top 10.
Still making history, still undefeated.
Very good.
That's a team that also, we talked about them early in the season, how they were making, 3-0, 2-0, whatever. They kept winning and kind of slid on the radar a little bit. So hopefully see what the Patriots can do the next couple weeks.
Say they come across Daniel in the playoffs.
Ooh. Really good running back Thomas Williams, big-time player for there. They got a good chance with anybody, I think.
Number 9, another good story here, Lower Richland. Traditionally a basketball powerhouse, playing some really good football here this year. And Ainer, round out the top 10 for 3. It just, I think you go top to bottom. I think 5A, there's a drop off.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got Dutch Fort, Gaffney, Fort Dorchester, and then
a little below. Yeah.
That's everybody. We'll see how Dorman fits into that equation later. But 4A, really, I think it's Flora. You could say Greenville, maybe Myrtle Beach, probably South Point, maybe Greenwood.
Yeah.
And then second half, maybe a step back, maybe. But 3A? Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, loaded. It's a loaded class. It's loaded. Very
I think
competitive.
1 through 7.
Very competitive.
It is. You could interchange almost all of them.
Very competitive.
Very competitive.
Classification.
You go down to 2A. 2A, well, now we go back a little bit. Now we got maybe 3. Abbeville, number 1. And again, how is Gray not get a single vote?
But they did a couple weeks ago, remember?
And now they don't.
And they just lost it.
I
guess losing to Gaffney on the road at the reservation by 3 points, it's just not a good loss.
Yeah, missing a 47-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's not a good loss, I guess, according to some of the poll voters.
I mean, come on. I don't like that one. We got Silver Bluff at number
Continuing
3.
to impress there, the Silver Bluff Bulldogs.
Silver Bluff probably I don't know who you could say he's got better defense in the state than those guys.
Yeah.
You got number 4, Marion, who they deserve to be number 4.
Yeah.
But boy, they act like they want to lose a game here.
Playing it tight, aren't they?
Barnwell, good team, checking at number 5.
Barnwell, Silver Bluff here in a couple weeks in the region. That'll be a great matchup
Very
there.
much. Saluda, again, right where we expect them to be, sitting at number 6. Timberland at 7, having a great season.
Yes.
Christchurch is at 8. Philip Simmons, who we haven't talked about, I don't know at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're at number 9. And then Wade Hampton checking in at 10. Going down to 1A, you got Southside Christian, of course, number 1. Bamberg Earhart, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure how far ahead Southside is from Bamberg, but Bamberg, obviously a very good team. Rich Spring Winetta hanging out at number 3. Lamar, no shame in losing to Dillon. They're hanging out at 4. Hannah Pamlico.
Off the big win.
They have jumped up to 5. Very well deserved for those guys. Whale Branch at 6. Baptist Hills at 7. Lakeview drops down to 8, which, okay, that's fair. I think they're better than that, but
Yeah,
I get it.
I put them
understand.
probably 6 right behind Hannah Pamlico, probably,
Yeah,
honestly, right
yeah,
now.
I think that would probably be a little accurate. But I get it. They'll be back up there. Great Falls at number 9, having still a good season there. Great Falls, and I think they're playing. Is it Lewis? No, Lamar's playing Louisville.
Louisville playing Lamar, yeah.
I think Great Falls actually lost to Louisville earlier this year.
I think Great Falls beat them last week. Sorry, last week.
Okay.
Yes, last week, yeah.
Good one. And Dixie rounding out the top 10 as they will try their best against Southside.
Yeah, it's our weekly time to bash on the polls, John. And one thing that we mentioned that I think this happens every year, and I still don't get it. We kind of brought it up with the Daniel thing earlier. How does one team in every classification get all the first place votes? That is true in every classification here.
Every single classification. And, I get it with Dutch Fort. I get it. With 4A, I mean, I guess I could say okay for this week, but, if you ask me to give one other team in 4A a vote, just one, I get the South one.
Yeah.
Who has, you look at 4A, you look who's in the top 10, and you ask, okay, out of all these guys, who's got the best win out of that group? It's South Point.
Over
being Northwestern.
Yeah.
In week 0. No one else. I mean, Floor beat Chapin.
Yep.
Okay.
Beat Camden. Maybe that's 318.
Okay, but we're talking about a top 10 the entire year.
Yeah.
Top 5. 518 Northwestern. I don't know why they're not getting a single vote. Doesn't make sense, but that's what it is.
Oh well. We don't vote in the poll, John. We're not asked to vote in the poll. So
that's right.
We don't
Not
get to
yet.
say
Not yet.
We don't get to
Not
say
yet.
what we think.
3A. Okay, I get it from Daniel, but
Yeah.
doing still good.
I guess these folks they just
good.
give a lot of respect, I guess, to winning the championship last year. I guess.
That's last year. That's last year.
Kids graduate.
I tell you, there's I'm not going to go off on a riff, but there's a great Mike Leach video from when he was at Texas Tech ripping into his team after a loss. And he said, that was last year. That was last week. That doesn't matter right now.
Yep.
That was a whole other team. How Gray does not get a vote. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if they got a couple votes in 4 and 5A, the way that we see the polls.
You never know, man. Apparently that's what you got to do to get in the polls now. You got to go in a different classification.
But yeah, that's incredible. Not one vote from any other schools.
Yeah. And it's wild. That's a story every year. I thought we mentioned this every year at some point where it's like, and it'll be deep into the season or any time throughout the season we'll see it like, you're telling me not one other team could compete for this. Like, what? I don't know. It's another week of us bashing the polls, but that's how it is. But let's give another quick shout out to our friends here, the Georgia Agency, Bradley, Richard, Wayne, and the crew. Serving your insurance needs in South Carolina for over 35 years, offices in Mullins and Myrtle's Inlet, but they can help you out all across the state, Rock Hill, Greenville, Greer, Aiken, Columbia, wherever they got clients all over. So if you're a small business owner needing insurance for your company, give them a call. If you're a seasonal worker, maybe a waiter at a restaurant, you need insurance, give them a call. Life insurance, give them a call. They can do it all. They do it at the best price, and they're great people to deal with. It's better than calling one of these big companies where you'll be put on hold for hours and passed around to this guy and that guy and don't know who to call when you got a problem. Georgia Agency, you know who you're talking to. You can call Richard, Wayne, Bradley, whoever. They'll pick up the phone anytime, and they'll be there to help you and serve your needs. So give them a call. Check them out at georgiaagency.net, thegeorgiaagency.net. And then our friends at Security Advantage Federal Credit Union, clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. I mean, it's that simple, John. It shouldn't be that hard. Like you said with the big banks, sometimes it is. Security Advantage Federal Credit Union keeps it simple. They do. So whatever your personal journey, they're here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securityadvantagefsu.com. That's securityadvantagefsu.com. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. Offices in Simpsonville, offices in Duncan, wherever you are, they can probably help you out. So give those guys a ring and tell them Moving the Chains boys sent you. But anything else, John, you want to hit on in this week's show? I know we've got some big stuff coming out. We've got the interview coming out with Coach Ethan Kelly, Clinton defensive coordinator. Sorry, Ethan Campbell coming out Thursday. Clinton defensive coordinator coming out Thursday. That'll be a great video there for you guys to watch and listen to. We'll have this show live on our podcast tonight on Google, Apple, Spotify if you missed it. Or if you want to watch it here on Facebook, it's here too. So come back and flip back to that and check it out again. But what else, popped up with you looking at this week's schedule or back at last week's schedule, John?
Yeah, I'm really excited about what Dorman can do against Gaffney.
Yeah, big ball game there.
I'm been really impressed with how much they have improved the last couple of weeks, and it's gonna be their biggest test until we get to the playoffs.
I think we both like Gaffney. I do worry about the run defense. We look back at what Gray did. Casey Adams over 200 yards. Trey Robinson, the quarterback, had several big runs for them. Dorman, we just talked about, ran for, 434 last week against Riverside. I mean, if they get half of that, that's a big game. If they get 200, that's a big game. It's going to be a big night for Little John, Brayshawn, that is, and then Dowdle and Hunter, Landon Bullock to really step up and make some plays for Gaffney's linebacker core. But I think the Indians are a little bit better. I think they are. Even though on the road, you never know at Dorman, I think Gaffney probably wins by 7 or 10 points.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I would be impressed if it's within 7. But yeah, I think a 7 to 10 point game is pretty accurate. I expect Dorman to have some success on offense. I don't know if they're going to be able to slow down Gaffney enough though. But I'm really, really excited about it because it could be, gosh, if it's 35 to 10 Gaffney, I wouldn't be super surprised. But I would like to see a 31-24 kind of game where it's a little bit back and forth and one possession game the whole way through. For sure.
If this is your first time watching, we appreciate you guys. Like our post here, like our page. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Our social handle is Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Also the same on Facebook now. Like I mentioned, we're on all podcast outlets. We're on YouTube, wherever you want to get your content. We're pretty much there. Like yesterday, I was talking to John. Facebook and Instagram was down for the whole day. That's why you need to follow us everywhere. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Spotify. If we'd had to do the show live tonight and Facebook was down, we could have done a Twitter one or we could have done YouTube, whatever. So that's why you want to make sure you follow us on all platforms so you never miss an episode if something crazy happens like that again. But, once again, for John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been your Week 7 preview show. If you guys are at a game, send us pictures, send us comments. We don't know where we're going to be at this Friday night, so definitely keep us in the loop on where you guys are. But excited for some good football, John. Week 7 preview show in the books, and we will chat with you guys next week.